Okay, so Daredevil Born Again Season 2 Episode 5 is now streaming on the Disney Plus platform, and we have a lot to talk about when it comes to this episode. Inside of this video, we're going to do our episode review, recap, and just break down all of the important events that took place, and then I'm going to give my rating at the very end of this review. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode review. Let's go. So first things first, this episode is titled The Grand Design. We open up this episode with, of course, the events that took place at the end of episode 4, that being Vanessa getting a glass shard in her skull at the hands of Bullseye. And now at the start of this episode, she is left in critical condition, which in my opinion, at least starting this episode, I thought was a bit of a cop-out. I'm like, no way she's actually going to survive this event that took place. Please don't do the rug pull for the audience and make it seem like, oh, we're going to kill off a major character and then take it back in the very next episode. I thought that would have been very lazy, but luckily they did not do that. They just wanted things to play out for the duration of episode 5. Now, for a good part of this episode, we see Daredevil trying his hardest to keep Benjamin Poindexter alive, to keep the Bullseye alive, because of course the AVTF, the anti-vigilante task force, is on his ass. They're chasing him. They're trying to eliminate him after what he did to Vanessa and invading Fisk's boxing match that took place. So a lot of what we've seen in this episode was Daredevil wrestling with his own conscience and drawing back to flashback scenes with Foggy Nelson, a lesson that Foggy managed to teach him, which again we will address more. But I thought it was a great sentiment and a great way to show that Daredevil is truly a hero. He's not an anti-hero. He's not a villain. He is truly a hero at heart by saving the man that took out his best friend at the start of season 1, episode 1 of Daredevil Born Again, that being Foggy Nelson. And just how strong of a sense of justice that this character really has, I thought that was on display throughout the entire episode, and it was fantastic in terms of like character development. That's a lot of what you got here throughout this episode. Now, as Vanessa is in this critical condition, we see her having flashbacks of her own to a past life, to her meetings with Wilson Fisk when they first got together, and just trying to fully finish fleshing out that character before we inevitably write her out of the show. Now we move on to another scene where we see Benjamin Poindexter asking the Daredevil to let him die. He wants to pay repentance for the crimes that he's done throughout his life, through all the people he's killed. He feels like him dying in this scenario would sort of make up for all of the wrong he's done throughout his life. Of course, the Daredevil sees it otherwise. He feels like he has a duty to save Poindexter despite all of the terrible things that he's done, because again, he is a true hero at heart. And then we get a scene where he ends up mentioning Foggy Nelson's name to Matt Murdock, and Matt Murdock snaps. He chokes him out. He tells him don't say his name, and we really see that intimidation come out of the Daredevil. So I thought that was a great scene there. And this is where we really start to get into the Foggy flashbacks. Now, it took a while to really get to the point, but I did love the point that they made with these flashbacks, that being that we go back to the time around season 1, I want to say, maybe even before season 1 took place. I'm not exactly sure if these flashback scenes were in the original Daredevil series, because it's been years and years, damn near over a decade since that's released. But we see Matt Murdock and Foggy Nelson. They have their law firm. They're trying to save their client, who inevitably is going to die if he ends up going to prison for the crimes that he's committed, and they find pretty much a loophole to get him out based off a faulty warrant. Now, we get this debate between Foggy Nelson and Matt Murdock about doing the right thing, about if it's the right thing to release their client, who they know is a bad guy, who they're representing, but they know this is a terrible person. Bad things are probably going to come out of him being released once again. But at the same time, we can't just send this guy to his death. And we do have the proof right here to make this case pretty much obsolete. So what do? And Foggy Nelson is trying his hardest to push Matt Murdock into the right direction, which I thought was a great testament to Foggy Nelson's character. And it really made me miss that character a lot, and his presence inside the series, and the relationship that he had with his best friends, Matt Murdock, and then eventually Karen Page as the show developed. Now, in these flashback scenes, we also get to see WESLEY return once again. I forgot how great that character was. You know, it did feel like something was missing on the Fisk side of things, and WESLEY was definitely it. So it was nice getting to see his character again, getting to see Fisk riding around in the all black suit when he was truly the kingpin at that point in time. Of course, he still is, but more in sort of a legal way now. And to move on to the next important event that took place, we have a scene where, of course, Daniel This is pretty much Fisk's like right-hand man or biggest assistant, we can say, giving information on the status of whether Vanessa is alive or dead to this reporter that he has a crush on. Kirsten is, I believe, her name. And at this point in time, he really should not have given this information out. It was really a betrayal to the Fisk camp, and Buck happens to put two and two together. He happens to find out about this, so he takes Daniel on a ride. He goes out, he buys a shovel, he buys a saw. He is really intimidating him, making Daniel fear for his life during this scene. So I thought that was hilarious, honestly, when he walks out the store with the saw and the shovel in his hand, and Daniel's heart rate just starts accelerating. He's thinking, do I just drive off? Do I pull off here? Do I try to keep it cool? He ends up trying his best to keep it cool, eventually pleading for his life once they arrive at their destination in this random forest where it seems like they plan on burying a body, which is exactly what ends up happening, actually. So he pretty much tells Buck how loyal he is, to please not take him out. Buck opens up the trunk and we find a body, a corpse inside of that trunk. Whose it is, I couldn't really tell. The plastic wrap over them was very heavy in a Dexter type of way. Dexter Morgan, shout out to y'all if y'all watch Dexter, okay? But yeah, the plastic wrap was so heavy, couldn't really see get a look at the face or the hair color really, so I'm not sure who this person was. So if you do know who this is, let me know that down in the comment section down below, okay? But moving on to the next important scene, we get a nice scene between Daredevil and Bullseye. They're trying to hide out in their Catholic church, where he ended up looking for Bullseye originally, and this is of course the church that Matt Murdock grew up in, and we see him practicing his faith at quite a bit throughout this series. So it's always nice when you get Matt Murdock back in church and get him back in tune with his faith, because this is such an important part of this character and his lore. And so we get a scene where he is sort of having a heart-to-heart with Bullseye, and during this scene is when we see the AVTF arrive at the church. They're looking for them there. They kind of have an idea that they're there. They take off, okay, they try to hide, and the priest ends up covering for them, essentially. Now we move on to one of the most important scenes in this entire episode, and is the scene that I really want to talk about, and that's Vanessa waking up from this coma-like state. Fisk is extremely happy, extremely sentimental. We've never seen him this sentimental. We've never seen this much of a soft side out of him, unless it comes to the Vanessa character, and I just love the performance from D'Onofrio inside of this particular scene. I think his acting was spot on with showing that, you know, throughout all the bad stuff that the Kingpin does, he actually is a human being who cares about somebody, that being his wife, Vanessa. So in this particular scene, sadly, she asks Fisk to tell her a story, and he ends up telling her the story of when they first met, and then she asks him to tell it again, and then she asked it again, and then suddenly, boom, she flatlines. Fisk is freaking out, he's losing his mind, and that's pretty much where we see the end of the Vanessa character. Now, while it is sad to see her go, I'm so glad that they did not rug pull the audience and that they stuck to their guns and went through with this tough decision of killing off Vanessa. Again, we started off strong with killing off Foggy Nelson. That was extremely unexpected out of episode 1, by the way, season 1, episode 1 of Born Again. But then now in this episode, we're losing yet another important figure inside of the Daredevil series, that being Vanessa. We know Fisk is going to absolutely lose his mind after this, okay? We know that Fisk is going to absolutely turn this city upside down, looking for these vigilantes, looking for Bullseye, looking for Daredevil. Just the fact that they were there and they were present at this event of her demise, they are going to be executed. At least he's going to make his best attempt at doing so. Now I can't wait to see how Fisk just completely goes off the rails for the remainder of this season, and they've done such a great job at just slowly building up this tension between Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and between Kingpin, and eventually we're going to see these two clash come the season finale, of course. Now, I love the way that they use these flashback sequences that Matt Murdock is having of Foggy Nelson and thinking back on the lesson that he taught him, where we have to do the right thing no matter what, because it's the right thing to do and we should do it, so we're going to do it. And really seeing how that transfers over into his modern day situation dealing with Bullseye, and how he's going to save Bullseye no matter what, even though he really at his core wants this guy dead. He knows it's not the right thing to do, and the thing that would be justice is to save his life and not let the AVTF just assassinate him. So all in all, all, a pretty strong episode here, but I do think we took a little bit of a step down from the previous episodes, especially that last episode, episode 4. I do still think that was the strongest episode in the season so far. And if we're being honest about the ending of this episode, it's damn near the same ending as the last episode, as episode 4, with Vanessa dying, right? That was the cliffhanger. Oh my god, they killed off Vanessa. And then we come to this episode, oh no, she's alive. And then the end of this episode is, oh my god, they killed off Vanessa. And that's pretty much it. So if I had to rate this episode, I would give it a 8 out of 10. Episode 5, season 2 of Daredevil Born Again gets the 8 out of 10. I still think it was a really strong episode. I love what they did with the flashback scenes. I love seeing Fisk pour out his heart for Vanessa, and the comparison from Foggy Nelson's lesson to Matt Murdock to him applying it to Bullseye in the present day. That was all fantastic storytelling there, but it was a step down from the previous episodes, especially episode 4. So with that being said, guys, those are my thoughts on this episode. I love to know your thoughts on this episode down in the comment section down below. If you don't know what we do here on Demigod ENT, we do film, TV, and pop culture based content. So if you're interested in this type of content, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.